On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we have Paul Bellantone live and on location. Hey there, and welcome to a very special edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm your host, Kirby Hasseman, and I am really excited today. I'm always really excited, but I'm really excited today because we're doing Delivering Marketing Joy on location. My man, Paul Bellantone, President and CEO of PPAI, is here in Coshocton. Thanks,
Kirby,
man.
so good to see you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So, and since you were here, we decided to do an impromptu Delivering Marketing Joy,
Sure.
and so we've come up with a couple questions for you, so I just want to kind of jump into some topics. As we're recording this, we're 3 months out from the PPAI Expo, which
Absolutely.
is your big event for the year.
Yeah.
Certainly, we've had a tragedy in Las Vegas, and I think we'd be, as my buddy Bill Petrie would say, tone deaf, right, if we don't bring that up. But it is something where it's a lot for you guys to manage. So where are you at on the expo, and what's going on?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, Kirby, because it's something that I know that we're wrestling with in two different ways. We're wrestling with it as humans, and we're seeing the tragedy that took place in Vegas, and then on the other side of it, it's the business of the association. You said something, I'm just going to clarify it a little bit, because you said you have a big event coming up. Well, our industry has a big event coming up that I just happen to be a steward of and fiduciary responsibility for maintaining. So as an organization, we're reaching out to our partners and our friends in the Las Vegas community that we've called home for 15 years, and really sharing our condolences with them, both the families of those people who were so tragically lost and the friends, but also there's a community of the hospitality community where these people put so much of their time and effort into creating amazing experiences, and they're going to be suffering as well. So we're lending our support in both ways, never taking our eye off the ball that about 100 days from now, we're going to be bringing 22,000 people to Las Vegas. And our goal has always been to make sure that they have a safe, productive, and enjoyable time at the venue and throughout the city. So it's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
Because again, you're wrestling with the humanity of it, and then you're charging us, the PPAI staff, with making sure that your business is successful, and we know how important the expo is to that.
Yeah, and again, I think I speak for a lot of people in our industry when I just say thank you, right? Like, thank you for being. I'm glad it's not me that has to try and run that balance, and I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, I look at this, and I'm sitting here with you today, but I actually have a staff of 80 people back in Irving, Texas, who are making this happen and dealing with their grief in their way and sharing with their families. So, and we're both music fans. We have that element of it too. Do we change our lives? Do we not change our lives? We move on.
Yeah.
We appropriately grieve for what's happened there. But we also know that we have to move on, and you have to feed your families.
So I appreciate you being willing to chat about that today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So one of the reasons I know that you were in Ohio, not just fly in to talk to me though, and our team, but you've been speaking at some industry events, and so I guess I wanted to just ask you. I think you do that quite a bit.
We do. And
why do you think that's important?
It actually started. Last week, I was in New York for most of the week with Advertising Week, which is really the celebration of all things marketing and advertising. So we represent our industry, PPAI, and we had some speakers represent our industry to the general advertising community about the power of promotional products, about why they work, about how we compete against other media, and why we believe that more marketing dollars should go toward promotional products than any of those other ones that we compete against. Specifically here in Ohio, I was doing some work with the Ohio Promotional Products Association. They had two end user events where one was in Cleveland, one was in Columbus yesterday, and distributors, promotional consultants, were able to bring their clients in, and they asked me to come and speak to their clients about the value of promotional products. I love doing that. I love watching their eyes light up. I love watching a client go to a trade show floor and just see the endless opportunities that they have to market their business, and then see the value that a promotional consultant brings to the table and helping them narrow that focus. Because it's kind of like a kid in a candy store, right?
Yeah.
You want to take your clients to these. You want them to see the wide breadth of opportunities we have available. But then you want to focus it down and make sure that you're developing campaigns that are actually going to work for their business. The fact that I get to be a part about that and learn about their needs is phenomenal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And again, that's one of those things that I think it's so nice in those situations to hear maybe the message we're already telling our clients, but to hear it from an outside voice, I think adds a lot of value. And so that's cool.
It's almost when you talk to your kids and you try to communicate something, but somebody else says something to your kids and all of a sudden it's gospel.
Yes.
Sometimes I can find a word or a phrase that maybe the promotional consultant's not sharing, or maybe share those words in a different way.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. So third question I have for you. I feel like there's a proliferation, maybe is the wrong word, but there's a lot of networking groups that are kind of coming up in our industry. Whether it's PeerNet or some sort of buying groups or Common SKU or Promo Kitchen, there's a bunch of different sort of associations that are popping up around the industry. Do you think that's good? If so, why? Yeah. What are your thoughts on the networking groups?
I think it's spectacular.
Okay.
We're a large industry. We have tens of thousands of promotional consultants, 3,000 or 4,000 supplier companies, and we're very fragmented. We have the smallest companies to the couple of $100,000 up to hundreds of millions, maybe billion-dollar companies. And PPAI cannot serve them all. While we serve the industry, it's impossible for us to break it down vertical enough to really deliver service to each of those groups. Mm-hmm. So what we do as a trade association is support those groups. We support Promo Kitchen, we support the Sage User Group and Common SKU and PeerNet and Partnering Group and all of those different groups that are catering to smaller audiences. I think, Kirby, and you know this from being in marketing, the more things going digital, the more we want to make one-on-one connections with people. So we do so much of our business virtually these days, where people are watching a video or doing work by email or podcasts that we did this morning. But ultimately, people like getting in front of people who share some commonality with them. And I think that's what those groups do. They create communities in a larger environment. I know you belong to a bunch of them too. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with you. I think they do provide value. Just got back from SKU Camp, which is a Common SKU event, and your sort of what you said makes a ton of sense, because it was a bunch of like-minded people who were challenging each other in a good way.
Right.
And hopefully that's the kind of thing that elevates the industry as a whole anyway. So that's pretty awesome. So you've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question.
Okay, so I have my day in the life of Kirby Hasseman today in Hasseman Marketing. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking across your office and I see that you have a video and communications arm, a social media arm. Mm-hmm. You have a promotional products distributorship. Mm-hmm. I saw my agenda for day in the life, and I think I'm stopping at a brewery at the end of the day, your latest venture. How do you keep focus? Or first, how do you keep focus? And then second, what is the thread that ties these 3 very different things together in a way that keeps you sane and hopefully happily married and seeing your children?
Yeah, no. How do I keep focused? Who says I do? No, we could ask the team, right? So it is a constant challenge for me. So one of the things that I really do try to do is batch activities together. I try to be intentional about, my calendar. But really the thing I think that keeps it all spinning is a team. And so you got communications from Emily. She's my assistant.
Right.
Doing this right now, we got Dustin and Josh, and they I am able to hand off things and trust, much like you do, right? That they get done. The same is true over at the brewery. And if there's a common theme among the businesses, it's fun, right? Like I believe that what we do in the promo world has a lot of impact, But I think if it's not fun for the end user, we're not doing it right.
Yeah, we're in a thank you industry.
Exactly.
And if you give me a really good beer later, I will thank you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So there is some commonality.
So joy is the commonality. So yeah. Hey man, thank you so much for not only coming and visiting and gonna go see some clients later, but also just hanging out and being willing to do this.
Thanks. I appreciate your friendship.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Well, that wraps up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.